It is basically confirmed true that Rotten Tomatoes pays critics. Okay, critics are paid to give good reviews for movies. Because I've always wondered, why do Disney movies magically, despite having bad reviews at first, magically somehow get good reviews? The most recent example is Elemental. You could like or dislike Elemental all you want, but the fact that some of the critics at first hated Elemental, despised the movie, but automatically when the movie came out, the critics score managed to go back to a positive score. Okay, the Little Mermaid remake magically got a perfect score. Okay, or the fact that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, didn't have a score on par with like Justice League or Suicide Squad, despite how bad that movie truly was, despite how awful Suicide Squad and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was worse than Suicide Squad. A lot of people said the movie was complete ass. Okay, but at the initial reviews, they came at a 48%, deemed rotten and falling short of 60%. But basically, what this company did was basically they gave money to reviewers. Say, hey, if you give our movie a good review, we'll give you money. Okay, which means most likely films like Turning Red. How many of those reviews are paid to give Turning Red a good review, or Captain Marvel, or The Last Jedi? Okay, now we should be allowed to question the Rotten Tomatoes scores. Okay, or the fact that Disney most likely paid IMDb to give the Little Mermaid remake a positive score. Okay, yeah. PR Film manipulating Rotten Tomatoes for 5 years has been paying some critics directly. Truly depressing stuff here. Okay, Rotten Tomatoes has been exposed that the critics are paid to give certain movies good reviews and to push up certain movies, like The Woman King. Okay, a movie that is the most historically inaccurate movie, one of the most historically inaccurate movies ever made. But don't worry. The money from the critics matter more, okay? The money, okay? I always knew since, like 2019, when, certain Disney movies started to get magically good reviews after, being getting bad reviews by the critics as well, okay? Magically got good reviews. And, Saving Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny had awful reviews, but the score kept going up and up and up. Lion King as well, score kept going up and up and up. The critics paid Disney paid the critics to give those movies higher scores than the original scores. Elemental, okay, it's usually an uptick of like 20%. They usually do that with, okay, to make sure that either the movies have mixed reception or positive reception, okay. Okay, so there's no surprise at all that companies like Disney paid, to get these movies, better reviews. Okay, sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The money does not work. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But most of the time, it does work. Like For Love and Thunder having a fresh score. Okay, even though the movie is absolutely hated across the internet. Okay, or Black Panther: Wakanda Forever getting a fresh score as well. Okay. Or Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Because Disney likely paid a huge chunk of the reviewers to give those movies positive scores. Same thing can be said about Black Widow. Okay, the fact that movie magically has a positive score on Rotten Tomatoes, even though the reception for that movie is very bad. Okay, and it's further so that DC does not pay the critics, because DC scores are all over the place. It's really Disney that uses the money to pay the critics, because they know a lot of the normies still pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes and know that Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of people still pay attention to what the critics think. They say, oh, but the critics don't like this movie, so we're not going to go see it, okay? Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 30%, so we're not going to go see it. And it does impact the box office. Some people tell me, the critics don't impact the box office whatsoever. Yeah, they do. That's why Disney pays the critics to give them good reviews. Because they'll be a part of the advertising. It has a certified fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics are raving about this movie. And people say, but the critics are raving, so people, and I think the whole idea of critically acclaimed movies doing well is, starting to die off. But, for example, something like, some of these movies last year, the critics like, oh my god, this is a masterpiece, and no one went to go see them. No one went to go watch these movies, okay? No one went to go watch these movies, okay? Sometimes the critics and audiences agreed that the movie was good, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think that A24 paid the critics to give Everything Everywhere All at Once a positive score. Same thing with Top Gun Maverick, same thing of something like Spider-Verse, okay? Because the user score for Spider-Verse is very high across all accounts, okay? But you can definitely tell that companies pay for movie reviews. Or movies get, less scores for an agenda, like the Mario movie, okay? And that is about Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes is further proving themselves to be an awful site. Okay? Proving that what I've been saying for the longest time, that companies like Disney pay critics to give their movies higher scores. And this kind of proved my point of the whole Captain Marvel fiasco. The fact that, Disney did everything in the power to give Captain Marvel a good score on Rotten Tomatoes to change the audience scores. So going forward, all the movies would have a positive audience score to get Rudy want to see, because really doing that delayed Disney's own downfall. It really did. Okay, but I think people are now seeing through Disney and are not trusting Rotten Tomatoes anymore. So that's about this video here. Goodbye.